Let's stick with Notre Dame for a minute. And let's talk a little bit about that Texas A&M Notre Dame game. 41-40. Texas A&M squeaks it out. Notre Dame 0-2, but still ranked, which is, of course, a point of contention for many across college football. But a lot of teams didn't start with a 2-0, or excuse me, with a top 25 opponent. And they're 2-0 because they played somebody easy. But Texas A&M, going into this year, we thought, okay, Mike Elko has them trending in the right direction. They might be a force in a year or two, but looks like they might be a force this year. Are they a legit threat in the conference, TJ?
I mean, I think so. What's tough for them is that their schedule is still loaded, right? Like anytime you play an SEC schedule, but has it lightened up a little bit? Like Texas in the last game of the year, I mean, that's going to be tough no matter what. And it's on the road in Austin, but they look like trash to start the season. Now, I would probably wager that Texas figures it out at some point through the year. And so maybe if you're A&M, you wish you were playing that game next week instead of after Thanksgiving. But their schedule is tough, but I don't think it's like insurmountable. LSU, a team that we thought, I mean, again, they got to go into Death Valley, but LSU doesn't look like they're lighting the world on fire. Now there's a lot of time again for LSU to kind of figure things out and get things rolling in the right direction. But I mean, I think A&M's schedule lines up well enough to where, I mean, I still think that the SEC is going to absolutely cannibalize itself because I don't know that there's this truly dominant team like the Georgia 22 team or something like that can just eat their way through everybody. Right. But there's no doubt that A&M is a legit force in the ACC and has a chance, right? Like I know that Notre Dame's 0-2. I know they've lost, but I think they've lost to two really good teams and they've lost on the last play of the game 2 times. Like it's not like they've gotten dominated or something. Like USF came back down to earth. Notre Dame is like legitimately 2 plays away from being 2-0 and maybe number 1 in the country if they were. So they didn't get it done. I get it. There's a whole litany of things you could talk about with Notre Dame, but man, I think that A&M is really good. And I haven't even looked at, I'll let Will talk a little bit and I'll shut up, but I haven't even looked at the odds. A&M's odds for the SEC have to be in the top 5. They've certainly been one of the top 5 most impressive SEC teams at this moment. So yeah, I mean, I think they're a force and they could certainly flounder and go 8-4 again, but it looks like this year's a little bit different.
I'm laughing at TJ saying Texas looks like trash. We're talking about the number 8 team in the country. LSU isn't legit. We're talking about the number 3 team in the country. They're, while maybe they haven't passed the eye test this far into the season, but that Texas A&M schedule is they still have to play a Florida team who, if they can get out of their own way, are incredibly talented. This LSU team, their defense is phenomenal. Their offense hasn't put it together yet, but a veteran quarterback and Brian Kelly, it's hard to count them out. Are they a legitimate threat in the SEC?
Looking at their skill positions and what they can do explosively, the answer is absolutely yes. I mean, Mario Craver looked unbelievable last week, and Casey Concepcion, what we have with him. Other running backs look great, and I do like Marcel Reed a lot. He was 17 of 37 passing in that game against Notre Dame, and I don't know if that's a number that gets it done week in, week out in conference. And they gave up 40 points to a Notre Dame team that does have a good offense, and granted, 7 of those points was a blocked punt return. But as you watch Notre Dame through the rest of the year, I don't think you're going to see a team that is explosive and putting up 40s every week. I mean, they're going to score more than Notre Dame of years past because of how they're their profile, but that's just a lot of points. I'm still not totally sold on their defense. And Notre Dame, to a degree, kind of gave them this game. Like A&M had to go out and win it, but the muff PAT, you had defensive holding on a 3rd and 16 on that last drive, and then they scored on 4th and 11. Like Notre Dame had every chance, it felt like, to really close this game out, and they just didn't, which is both an indictment on Notre Dame for giving them the game, but also credit to A&M for going out there and being able to take it. And just going back to A&M's schedule, like that LSU and Texas game, I mean, it's so weird because both are true. Like these teams are ranked really highly. I don't know if Texas should be ranked up there right now. LSU is fine, but like TJ said, getting both of those teams in 5 or 6 weeks is harder because getting Texas next week is the best case scenario. Getting LSU in 2 weeks is the best case scenario because LSU, I think, can turn it around. Texas, you would think it has to click at some point, like he said, but A&M definitely has the potential, but I feel like that's something that we've been saying for the past 8 years about this team. So you never know. I mean, could they get all the way to 9-3 this year from 8-4? Maybe. Could they win 10 games? Possibly. They definitely have the roster. I think it just comes down to how the rest of the teams on their schedule do click down the line, mainly LSU and Texas.
I'll tell you before like when you look at their schedule, they play Auburn next, right? So they get a bye. I think that Auburn game will be tough, and we'll see what Auburn
Mhm.
looks like against Oklahoma here. But they should beat Mississippi State. If we're honest, they should probably beat Florida too, and that's not even me
Yeah.
talking trash. But they're playing at
Yeah.
home, and Florida has shown a lot of weaknesses. They should beat Arkansas. The LSU, the Missouri, and the Texas games are what it comes down to for me. They play South Carolina again. I know South Carolina beat the brains out of them last year, but they don't look the same this year. I really think to me, I think 9-3 has to be the floor. Like you really shouldn't drop all three of your hard games. Like when you play LSU, Missouri, and Texas, you shouldn't go 0-3 in that. What's tough is they play all three of them on the road, right? And so
Mhm.
that's what sucks for them. But man, I think 10-2 is possible. I think there's going to be 1 million points scored in that. This isn't a Texas A&M Missouri preview because that game happens in the middle of November. But I think there's going to be 1 million points in that game. And so has LSU figured it out offensively? Has Arch figured it out?
Yeah.
I mean, if he hasn't figured it out by November 28th, he probably won't be the quarterback in that game. But
Mhm.
if they can hold serve and just upset one of those three teams, which I think they'll probably be a dog in all three. If they can find a way to get one of those wins, I mean, I'm 10-2 A&M's going to the playoff.
That game at Arkansas is scary, though. I'm not sure I'm willing to pencil
Yeah.
that one in as a win.
They
Arkansas
look good
looks like
against.
they can be legit. Yeah.
They looked good, man. They outside of a late turnover, we're not going to talk about the Ole Miss game, but outside of a late turnover, I mean, they beat Lane this weekend, and I know they had some quarterback issue, but their backup played fine. So Arkansas looks. Maybe Pittman isn't going to get fired this year. We'll see.